Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Today I'll be your judge, your jury, and your analyst, and today I bring to you my top 5 teams for the Great League Remix. Now you're probably wondering, King of Charmanders, why the heck are you so late? I actually had a little bit of a hard time trying to find a top 5 for this, so I spent a little more time trying to put stuff together. Great League Remix is very much it's not the same per se, because some things like a pick that I really liked in the last Great League Remix, which was Obstagoon, is banned. So that switches up things for a little bit. However, a lot of popular patterns like Diggersby and Frostless are still really strong. So if you used your old team from before, it will likely work for this time around. But my quick mental health tip for the day, it is going to be stay grounded, or be mindful rather. So being mindful is something, well, DBT, which is dialectic behavioral therapy, really like keys in on being mindful. Be mindful in the present. Even though you may not have reached your goals yet, you are still alive. And as long as you are alive, you can fight another day. So be mindful, be grateful, be present. And you can fight another day. And you can learn. Good. Because even though you're legend or whatever, we're always learning. Because more Pokemon will be released. And then they're going to buff and nerf things. So you're always learning. Anyways, again, this is going to be my top 5 for the Great League Remix for this season. They're not as powerful as from before, but they're combinations with like elite strategies. I also have a budget team in here, so if you're strapped for Stardust, take a look at that team. Anyways, let's get started. Alright, so the first team I have, I know you're like, really King of Charmanders, really KOC, freaking Wigglytuff. Wiggly 2 Shield is good, okay? It's annoying, but it's good. And the thing about it is, outside of seeing a Drapion in the lead, or a Berserker, Wigglytuff can pretty much mow down most things in 2 shields. And then just whatever's in the back, just pressure the unholy hell out of it. But this is Wigglytuff 2 shield strat, and it is actually overall, as you see here, pretty good as far as grading goes. Of course, because you have Machamp on your team, it's going to tank your bulk rating. So this is going to feature Wigglytuff lead, Lickitung as your Sweet Switch. It has to be XL, so if you don't have it, don't worry. This team is just for you that are trying to get your sets done, or if you really like Wigglytuff that much. And then you have Machamp to close out. As the overall against a lot of the meta does well, Wigglytuff against Diggersby is a very interesting matchup. Because as you see here, Diggersby loses the 2 shield. Yes, Wigglytuff will expend, as you see here, Wigglytuff will expend both shields, but you still run through it. So you can sack both of your shields. Your opponent's going to come out shield advantage, but you can come out and have a really positive matchup against whatever is in front of you. Which is why we have Lickitung and Machamp, because they cover a wide variety of mons, or they just outpressure them in general. If you look at your potential threats in here, like I mentioned, the Poison type Archetype is mean. That's why you're losing Lickitung as your safe switch. If you get a fighter thrown into you, that's what we have Wigglytuff for. Switch into Lickitung, fighter gets thrown into you, Wigglytuff farms down, and then maybe Machamp can close out. The keyword is maybe. Just because, again, as you see here, Beedrill and some things actually do very, very well against this team. I don't foresee too many Beedrills running around. I haven't seen many running around, but the thing is, Machamp can still take out Beedrill with Rock Slide. So if the stars align, if things go well, you might be able to take out Beedrill or Pidgeot in the closer with Machamp with its Rock Slide. We're using the regular version rather than the Shadow version. If you want to use Shadow, that's fine. It's just that extra bulk really does matter, because what's likely going to happen is Beedrill's going to have some chip, and if somehow you can take it to the zeros, Rock Slide can KO at the range. So that's why we have it. Of course, there's no way for you to really stop rock, paper, scissors. Anytime you use a Charmer, you're pretty much banking on, you're not banking on rock, paper, scissors, but you're banking on like a 2 shield strat, and hopefully you have a positive matchup against the back row. Because every back row is susceptible to having one thing that core breaks it, or just has a really great matchup or charge moveset against it. High threat score of 684, but again, this is just for those of you that really want to use the Wiggly 2 shield strat. Alright, so team number 4, you have Diggersby XL, we got Frostless, and we got Cresselia. This is actually an old school team I used to use, but it's still really good for the Great League Remix. Lots of pressure, super thick Cresselia and Diggersby in the back, super thick, super powerful, lots of shield breaking potential, and a lot of coverage. Overall, a very powerful team. This is double safe switch. Frostus and Cresselia are both viable safe switches, so whatever you feel like is going on, or if you feel like your opponent has a team that you know about, or if you have a sense of what it is, then you can switch out accordingly. Lots of bulk, lots of safety, great coverage, great consistency. Overall, very, very well against a lot of overall meta. As you see here, there's a lot. One component of this team in the one shield can cover the other, so it's a very powerful team. That, again, you could just break shields and then you can realign. And just because of the Cresselia and Frostus having that Shadow Ball, Avalanche, and Moonblast Grass Knot combination, there's a lot of things you can either one-shot or cover. The difficult thing is this team does have a hard time against Charizard. Charizard is a good pick for the Great League Remix. You're gonna have to do some fanciness if you see a Charizard, just because you're going to have to beat the unholy hell out of it. You can circumvent this by having, instead of having Moonblast Cresselia, you can use Future Sight. This is so that you can just blast through the shields and it won't really affect you that much, as you see here. If you have Future Sight, the only thing I will take you out is Shiftry or Honchkrow, which isn't necessarily bad because Diggersby has Fire Punch for Shiftry, so you can chip down shields, etc., and then you can farm it down Frostless and then throw all that energy in the back, and you have Honchkrow. Now, the reason why I'm doing both variations is because if you have, like, Moonblast does allow you to resist things, but either way, like, I would say Future Sight is better. Just because your ability to take out the Charizard weakness. But I'm showing you both sides of the coin because this team is very, very powerful. But, again, Future Sight Cresselia does lower your threat score considerably. And if you could Future Sight through shields, it can do some heavy damage. Again, outside of Shiftry, which pretty much beats your entire team anyways, the strategy against Shiftry would be to break both of its shields, or you could even leave it in the ones, just chip down as much as you can with Fire Punch with Diggersby, because it's going to take 2 Leaf Blades to take you out. You can outpace Shiftry too far. You can outpace Shift, well, it really depends on how the battle goes, because if they get the Snarl through in the initial, it's very difficult, but you can get 2 Fire Punches on Shiftry, leave it down. Again, you can go ahead and farm down with Frostless, throw all that energy in the back, and hopefully you can close out with Frostless and Cresselia. Honchkrow does have a strong matchup against you. Again, though, I don't see too many Honchkrow. Honchkrow is too squishy in this meta, and there's a lot of things that can take out Honchkrow, especially the Ice archetypes, and Honchkrow doesn't really have amazing coverage against the rest of the meta. Yes, Dark Pulse and Brave Bird is very, very strong. However, Honchkrow is squishy, so keep that out there. Again, if you lose the lead against anything in Diggersby, fighters in particular, or water types, you safe switch in a Frostless. Cresselia in the back with Grass Knot is able to cover Diggersby's weakness against water types. Alright, next up we have a really interesting team. We have Mantine, Lickitung, XL, and Ninetales. It's double safe switch like the previous team. Mantine is a really underrated lead in my opinion. With Bubble Beam and Ice Beam, there's a lot of fanciness you can do, and it's kind of annoying because you still wall Diggersby. So it's a very, like I said, very, very interesting mod. Overall, the stats are very good. Amazing bulk and safety. Great coverage and consistency. It's a very interesting team, but again, you have to have Licky XL, which as much as I dislike the XL system, I can't deny that it's good, because it's freaking good. And with, as you see, against top meta picks, this team has a lot of coverage against multiple combinations. That, or you could switch out, or what you can do as well is if you want to cover the Ice type weakness, you can also use Wing Attack. There's really nothing that changes. If you use Wing Attack, here's what happens. Bulk, everything still stays the same, but it gives you the better matchup against Ice types in the lead. For example, if you see something like Obama Snow, etc., then it's like, if you see Obama Snow, then you can kind of stay in and try to pressure it out, because it'll do neutral damage against you. And with Wing Attack, it generates energy faster than Bubble anyways, and you can possibly get if you get Bubble through, Bubble generates more energy, but Wing Attack is just really good. Plus, it gives you that extra coverage against fighters that Lickitung wouldn't normally get. Well, Lickitung is your biggest weakness against fighters, but with Mantine with Wing Attack, you can try and just blast out, like, you can just beat the unholy crap out of things like Machamp, etc. My opinion, Wing Attack is better. I want to show you Bubble Beam. Again, I'm going to show you both. So here's Bubble Beam, and I'm going to show you Wing Attack. So what you cover with Bubble Beam, or with Bubble, is that, as you see here, Probopass, Dragaggle, Tentacruel, etc., which is kind of bad because you, like, the water archetype has a very strong matchup against you. So that's why, as you look over here, it's 684. At least with Wing Attack, you can do neutral damage against the ice water tanks, or against water Pokemon, so you don't have to, like, against Politoed, you don't have to worry about getting blizzarded, because essentially you get walled by the Toad, which is just hilarious. But again, I show you Bubble, but again, you can use Wing Attack. You can also use Bullet Seed if you want to, because Bullet Seed is able to do super effective damage against Diggersby and against Whiscash. However, it's kind of, again, you don't get stabbed, and it's very weird just because you don't get stabbed. Along with that, you do super effective damage against water types, so it's very, very weird. But Mantine isn't the type of Mon that's able to farm things down. So again, Bullet Seed Mantine, not a bad idea. So if you want to have that super effective against that, but in my opinion, again, Wing Attack is best. Your coverage goes up, you're able to pressure Trevenant, so grass, not just, you're able to pressure grass types, and you're able to pressure fighters. So I think Wing Attack is best for Mantine. Your biggest weakness here, Empoleon, Chansey, Probopass, Steel types or Rock types that would normally resist it, but it's not even a bad matchup per se, I mean against the Rock types, because you do have Bubble Beam. Empoleon can give you a hard time as well, but of course this is why we have double Safe Switch. You lose lead, Safe Switch into Lickitung or Ninetales and try to close out. If you've seen Empoleon, unfortunately, it does have a strong matchup against you as far as going against Ninetales in the back, etc. However, you can Hail Mary Overheat and possibly come out with a dub. Alright, team number 2 is a little weird. It's a Shield Breaker strat, so if you like Shield Breaker strats, this one's for you. It features Ninetales in the lead, Frostless as a safe switch, and then Surfetch closes out. Premise with this team is that if you switch out, it's because of water types, etc. against Ninetales, so anything of that sort, or Magcargo, which would be very bad, but you have Surfetch. So Frostless, you switch out into Frostless, and then it's your safe switch, and then Surfetch will farm down, and Ninetales blast it to death with Overheat. That's the plan. Not a lot of bulk. This team is just sheer damage. As you see here, great coverage, safety, consistency, but it's all sheer damage. We go on damage. If you see Diggersby in the lead, etc., or you can leave Ninetales in there if it's up to you. You can sack Ninetales in the lead, and then you can farm down with Frostless or leave out Surfetch. So you can overheat through shields, take out as much AP as you can, and then have Surfetch farm down, and then Frostless can close out with shields. Frostless 2 shield strat's still very powerful in the Great League remix. Basically, that means you leave Frostless with 2 shields, you sacrifice your other 2 Pokemon, and Frostless goes to town. And the reason why this team is so good is if you look at your potential threats, there's a lot. Yes, you lose again. Like, there's a lot of things you can do. With Leaf Blade, you are able to take out the water archetypes and one-shot Whiscash. And your biggest weaknesses are Tentacruel and Alolan Marowak. Tentacruel is not so great. Well, it's good, but it's not so great in this cup. You probably won't see a lot of them. Alolan Marowak has also fallen off the totem pole a lot just because of the existence of Trevenant and the fact that Diggersby as well as Lickitung do have a very strong matchup against it just because of lick damage. So, putting that out there. Frostless is also able to one-shot. There's also contingency plan, though. So, you can... Again, you got Leaf Blade for... Well, Tentacruel is a poison type, so you don't really have Leaf Blade, but Leaf Blade still does neutral damage, and it's the strongest charge move in the game. Frostless also has Shadow Ball to cover Alolan Marowak or to take out... Again, this is why Frostless is so dang good, because Ghost and Ice is incredible coverage, and it does heavy damage, so just to put that out there. Very strong, very powerful with the overall... the threat score is 635, which is really low. So again, if you lose lead against Ninetales, all you have to do is say switch to Frostless, leave it with 2 shields, or what you do is you sacrifice Frostless in the switch, farm down with Surfetch, and then hopefully Ninetales and Surfetch can close out the matchup for you. And last but not least, we have that budget team I was telling you about. So it's Charizard, Whiscash, and Meganium. Whiscash, well, it used to be Obstagoon with Hyper Beam, so I'm a little sad that Obstagoon got banned. It was really that freaking good. However, the way it operates is that if it's a top pick, you will get banned. So Great League Remix is mean for banning my... If you Hyper Beam through shields, not only is it hilarious, but it also closes out a lot of win cons for you, and it was my budget team for the last Great League Remix, and it worked insanely well. So we're just going to replace Obstagoon with Meganium. You have Charizard, Whiscash, and Meganium. As you see, pretty much the same stats as the previous team that I had with the budget. Not a lot of bulk, great coverage, safety, and consistency, but overall, does well against a lot of the overall meta picks, especially against Diggersby. This is a kill Diggersby team. which was what Obstagoon had too. So this is kill Diggersby. You will kill Diggersby with this team. However, the thing about it is that if you look over here, it still has a low threat score, which is actually surprising when I looked it up. I was like, wait, what? I was like, wow, this is very interesting. Well, the reason being is this. So if you look at it, if you look at the entire team together, the only weaknesses you have overall is G-Fisk, is Galarian, no, not G-Fisk, G-Fetch. I don't think I would ever say G-Fetch in my entire life, but G-Fetch, which you probably won't see. Ho-Oh in this cup. Well, in order to get a Great League Ho-Oh, you need to trade it. You need to trade one with a friend, but they have to be, like, less than good friends with you. So you have to Great League Ho-Oh is insanely rare, and if they do have it, dang. That's a pretty sweet PvP mod. But Honchkrow, again, you probably won't see a lot of Honchkrows, so we're going to look down the list on what you see here. So Dugong, Knocked Owl, Zweilous, Ninetales, etc. Charizard can break shields. If you lose lead, you can safe switch into Wish Cash and try to Blizzard out whatever they put in front of you. It's likely going to be a grass type. So you can Hail Mary Blizzard through shields, and if you call it and it does get through, then you get the dub. Or you could just straight Blizzard, try to pressure both shields, and then Charizard and Meganium can hopefully close out. Overall, very powerful team. I've practiced with it a lot, and Meganium isn't that bad. Even if you see Trevenant, you could beat the unholy hell out of it with Frenzy Plant, just because Meganium is so bulky and tanky, and a lot of scenarios even though Frenzy Plant's been resisted, you can KO a lot of the back row just because Meganium is just so bulky. It'll survive a lot of things. But this team is very powerful, and again, you want them to have a Diggersby with this team, because it is very good against Diggersby. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know you're like King of Charmanders. You're hella late to the party, bro. You're like Krillin in episode 1, where it took him forever to revive him. Actually, no, Krillin was revived Actually, no, it wasn't revived pretty quickly. Because you went through the Frieza arc, and then, like, it took until Frieza's final form, and then after Frieza's dead, and then they return Earth, and that's when they wished everyone back to life. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Dragon Ball Z is awesome. Yes, I'm an anime nerd. If you like anime, we can be friends. Anime is awesome. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm sorry it took so long, but like I didn't want to just throw teams out here that at random. I wanted to give you something that worked, because with every team I create, I will run through the sim. I will run through it a little bit. I will train with it and see how it does. And if it does decently well, I will put it on this list. Because you kind of I can do that without having to do practice, but having that live practice so that you know its energy, etc., you can come out with the W. So these teams are very powerful. Hopefully one of them helps you out. And again, I put that budget team in here, but that budget team is really, really strong. For 30k dust, you have a team that can absolutely wreck your opponent's world. So hopefully these teams do help you out. Hopefully you're doing well in your set so far. And you likely won't have your elo yet at this point, so we'll do your best. And again, still the beginning of the season, so don't stress. Use this time to really figure out what team you like to do, or if you're playing Great League Remix, hopefully these teams help you out. Really appreciate you guys. If you do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe. If you see these two Charmanders right here, next to it is a little sub box. If you put your mouse over the sub box, you can easily subscribe from there. It's totally free. Like and subscribe, super free. Again, it really helps out the channel. And I really do appreciate my current subscribers. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you guys on the next video.